welcome to the 8th edition of the Express Logistics and Supply Chain Conclave. Over the next half an hour, eminent speakers will share their views and expertise across various formats of the logistics and supply chain industry. Let's head across first to the opening ceremony.
In its 8th year now, the Express Logistics and Supply Chain Conclave is Asia's largest platform for discussions and rewarding players in the supply chain sector. The event began with the lamp lighting ceremony. This was followed by the keynote address by Piotr Polak of Chartered Institute of Cooperation.
One of the concepts, how world emerged, how it was created, was by the Big Bang. And when we are talking about the Big Bang, we can realize that in the business, currently, we have this situation. There is really a Big Bang disruption. So we may say that in the business, the markets are going at dramatical changes. It's really what's going on. It's accelerating and accelerating. We were talking a few years about the crisis. But now the question is, are we in the crisis or it's just the new reality? It's the new situation. People are asking when the crisis is going to change. I don't know whether it is going to change anytime. It's probably just a new reality. And when you see what's going on, is that right now companies can deliver at the same time products which are better, which are cheaper, and which are more suitable for its customer, and it's all three at the same time. We are no longer talking about the price or quality. We are talking about the price and quality.
After the keynote speech, the conclave saw conversations between industry leaders discussing the strategies being employed in the logistics and supply chain industry to ensure growth while maintaining costs. These panel discussions were also a site for brainstorming and envisioning the future needs of the sector.
It's always been a pleasure to come to the ELSC summits. This is the 8th year. The great thing for us is that we've been associated with ELSC from the first year, and every year we've been an associate, we're a sponsor, and we're also an active participant. ELSC we see has grown from strength to strength, and every year we see that it's growing in size, stature, and quality. Yeah, this year I think there were more than 550 to 600 participants from logistics and a series of industry verticals, which is fantastic. It's a great place for us to meet industry veterans, but also to meet a lot of our customers.
Basically, it's been going on for last 8 years, and the best part of this event is there are many industry tracks that parallelly run, and also this particular tracks, there is a participation from both the customer side, user side, and service provider side, which makes all the more attractive because a lot of people participate. There is an opportunity to network and interact, and it gives a lot of visibility across the country, though it's continuously happening in Mumbai.
I think both CHEP and the ELSC Forum are working towards a common national objective, which is to improve the supply chain for India. ELSC is at the front end by getting all the professionals together. CHEP works with all the user industries to improve their supply chain. And therefore, there's a great synergy between the two organizations.
The top management from the biggest and most influential names in the supply chain industry came together in the discussion titled View from the Boardroom Track that brought forth the industry perspective to the emerging trends in the sector. The focus of the discussion was to come up with solutions that help in attracting talent to the supply chain industry.
Now, when we're talking about talent, it is always a challenge for logistics industry, and I think for last 10 years we are talking about it. So this is nothing new, but this particular talent crunch is increasing day by day. So it is about talent management, it is about talent acquisition, development, and retention. All three are completely different topics. In our organization, we are tackling it in a very different way. But the challenge is that retention part is very, very critical, and that is depend on the demand-supply gap in the industry itself.
Deliberations also took place which focused on the specific employment needs of the supply chain industry and expectations from the future talent pool.
I like to say that supply chain itself is taking a different turn today. From being a resource or being a functional department, I think it's becoming a business differentiator today. So the needs are very much getting defined. are getting changed, and newer and newer business models are emerging today, and there is a re-engineering of current business models. So what we have developed in our organization, and I can give this as an example to just see how we are doing it, is we have developed a supply chain talent model where we've identified at various levels, both at skilled manpower, which is what we call the blue-collared workers, or the white-collared workers. At each level, we've identified a model by which we see how we can source, develop, and retain the talent.
Another key issue that the discussion highlighted was the evolution of roles of the logistics and supply chain professionals in order to adapt to the ever-changing business climate.
This function is now looked at as an integrator of other functions. There is a need for a talent handling supply chain who has a visibility across the organization, who understands the strategy of the organization, and who is able to integrate all functions from the R&D right up to the selling activity in the organization, as well as the supplier and the customers outside the organization with the strategy of the organization.
This platform is quite interesting in terms of bringing all the supply chain stalwarts to one room, discussing the deficiencies that we have in the system and the ways to resolve how one has been resolving. For an example, we may be a stalwart in warehousing and the other may be a stalwart in transportation. So we take away each of our points.
Time for a quick break, but we'll be back with a special focus on procurement, sourcing, and solution providers for the logistics industry. Welcome back. You're watching the ELSCC Conclave. With a special focus on sectors like FMCG, retail e-commerce, high-tech, auto, chemicals and pharmaceuticals, the conclave focused on procurement and sourcing, along with synergies of supply chain with information technology and private equity funding. Here's a look.
What will happen if we are operating?
The conclave saw the coming together of different sectors that are direct beneficiaries of the supply chain and logistics industry. Each forum focused on the needs of specific sectors such as auto, FMCG, retail e-commerce, IT, chemicals, etc. The focus of the Auto Forum track was on processes and technological innovations. The forum on chemical sector focused on procurement, development and timely delivery of the products. The retail e-commerce sector track examined rapidly changing behaviors, technologies and expectations that would drastically influence the retail customer of tomorrow.
Customers' needs and strategies are generally something that they're not putting out to the supply chain providers very clearly, and hence we also don't very clearly know what path to follow. Some people will ask for service but then put cost up as their most primary agenda. Some people are looking for innovation but again generally get restricted by costs, and costs here are being managed by a number that they look at from a pure logistics cost perspective, which is kind of taking away from all the other costs such as inventory holding costs and team costs that they have. So I think the alignment just kind of fails there, and it has been happening again and again over the past many years.
Supply chain business is such that it requires all kinds of skill. You need skill to manage the warehouse, you need the skill to do the supply chain, you need the skill to do the distribution, you need the skill to do the packaging. So you need all kinds of skill. Since in this part of the world, it's more profitable to do manual operation vis-a-vis the automated operation. So you are always using more manpower, and therefore you also need man management skill. Companies are doing more of technical outsourcing, but when they go beyond this technical outsourcing, then there will be more IT intensive skill that will be required, because that will become the key word.
logistics and supply chain happens to be most important and vital concept in the field of business or industry. If you think, you consider anything and where logistics is involved. But when we think of the real trained manpower, I have heard so many forums that there is a dearth of manpower, trained manpower. And so we thought something has to be done in this area.
The conference also hosted an exhibition for logistics solution providers to showcase their products and services.
Every year in its much anticipated and diverse exhibition, the ELSC Conclave brings together businesses to present new developments in the sector to all stakeholders. With more than 30 stalls, visitors at the exhibition had a chance to interact with industry players, conveying every aspect of logistics and supply chain management.
For us, innovation stems from two very critical items. One is the culture we have from inside and the kind of focus we are able to develop for to be customer oriented. Yeah, we run two programs inside, which one is called Certified International Specialist CIS, and we run a program internally which is called Insanely Customer Centric Culture. It is not just normally customer centric, but insanely customer centric. So to be focused on customers, put customer at the center of everything we do, and train yourself to be absolutely disciplined about your processes to deliver quality is one part of why DHL is successful.
More difficult is to keeping the new talent which are coming in from universities and from colleges. Primarily, if you see their profile, I will put it in a way that they are impatient. So when they come, they want everything yesterday. They are internet oriented. Knowledge part, whatever I have gained in last 30 years, probably they will gain in last 5 years. So knowledge part is also not very heavy on that. They get very fast knowledge. Third thing is they are very intelligent to learn. Anything you put to them, probably we have taken time to learn it, but they learn it very fast.
We'll take a short break, but on the other side, the most awaited feature of the conclave, the 8th ELSC Leadership Awards for Excellence. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Straight to the highlight of the conclave, the 8th ELSC Leadership Awards that recognizes the best in the logistics and supply chain industry.
8th ELSC Leadership Awards 2014, presented by Future Supply Chain Solutions. Before we get started with the proceedings of the evening, it's also time for me to invite on stage the Managing Director of Future Supply Chain Solutions, Mr. Anshuman Singh.
The awards evening that we will have proud winners. But we may be having proud winners amongst those who are working hard in a very still to open up, still the recessionary affected economy. And here I will ask Harish that next year awards should also add categories of awards of people who worked harder and taken advantage of the change environment and have created further growth in logistics and have done new things, because after several years, India is seeing an environment where new things can be done once again. So without further ado, I invite all of you to enjoy this evening. Welcome to you all once again, and congratulations to all the winners. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we are now about to begin with our first set of awards right here at the 8th edition of the Express Logistics Supply Chain Leadership Awards 2014. Now, joining Mr. Anshuman on the dais, I'd also like to invite on stage Mr. Piotr Polak to please come forward to do the honors. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started with the first set of awards of the evening. And we're about to unveil to you the categories of these awards. First category of the evening, which is Best Express Service Provider of the Year, Domestic.
The winner is Blue Dart Express.
that, let's proceed with the next category of award, which is Best Express Service Provider of the Year, International.
DHL Express India.
Moving on, let's find out the winner in our next category, which is Best Air Freight Service Provider of the Year, Mid-sized Companies.
And the winner is Delex Cargo India.
Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the next category, which is Best 3PL Company of the Year.
There are two winners. The first is TVS Logistics Service. The second is Safe Express.
Moving on to the next category of the evening, Best Inland Service Provider of the Year.
Is APM Terminals India.
Moving on, yes, the next category, ladies and gentlemen, Best Project Logistics Company of the Year.
Alcargo Logistics.
While we do come to the end of the first set of awards, I'm going to thank Mr. Anshuman as well as Mr. Polak. Thank you so much, sir, for doing the honors. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the second set of awards that we're about to present this evening at the 8th ELSC Leadership Awards 2014. Now, to do the honors, may I please invite Mr. Shogato Shom, who's the head of Key Account Manager with FSC, and may I also invite Mr. Asad Mahapatra, who's the Senior Vice President with People's Office at FSC. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the second set of awards, and let's get started with the next category of the evening, which is Supply Chain Innovation of the Year.
The winner is Gati Kintetsu Express Private Limited.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next category for the evening, Supply Chain Solution Provider of the Year.
And the winner is CHEP India Private